Welcome to Pop Chat. My name is Annette Tarpley. I'm the host as well as the founder of The Passion of Poetry or POP. And I'm very happy and honored to introduce you to our guest today, who I've been anticipating and waiting for so long, and he's here finally. So, welcome to Brian Donnell James. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
It's a pleasure to have you. I our mutual friend introduced me to you and told me about you, and that is Michael Anthony Ingram. So thank you, Michael, Doctor Michael Anthony Ingram. So we thank him for that. And but interestingly enough, usually if somebody that's referred to me, I very often like to go into it blinded and not know a lot about the person. I really look into their works. I like that surprise or wow factor. And I did look into yours because you something popped up and I thought, well, that looks interesting. But your work is really marvelous. I'm very excited that you will be sharing with us your work today. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to give the stage over to you and have you tell us about yourself, your writing, your accomplishments, whatever you want to divulge about you, and let us get to know you better.
Okay. Well, my name is Brian Donald James. Just as we were talking backstage about being more natural, supporting others, I think I'm one of those people. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to talk about myself. Um, but I am a United Nations award-winning poet. I was a semifinalist for America's Next Great Author, which was a TV pilot created by Emmy Award-winning Kwame Alexander and New York Times bestselling author Jason Reynolds, Victoria Christopher Murray, and produced by some other great writers and talents. Um, I won several other awards throughout the United States, Europe, Africa. I've also had the pleasure of speaking at universities, basically across the world, through to my many friends like Dr. Hiram LaRue and other great people. Um, basically, if you meet me, the first things that are going to come out of my mouth is empathy and humbleness. I truly believe that that is the main ingredient that's missing in the world, and you're going to get that from me. Um, and I guess that's just about it. As I say, I'm really more a facilitator of other people because I feel that's in my nature. I don't really, you know, talk about myself that much.
Well, it's great to hear about those things anyway, and all that you've accomplished. So there's quite a bit that you've accomplished, and you've been awarded. And I, I tried to look for that poem as far as the one with the United Nations. I don't know if it came across you or not, but you had some great work. I told you the names of a couple I really loved. Do you happen to have a signature poem?
Well, I have a variety of different poems because I speak to a lot of different issues. I mean, autism, cancer research, homelessness, um, uh, fighting food insecurity across the world. But I believe that testimony would probably be my signature piece. That is the main one that I won the United Nations Award for, and I'm kind of trying to smoothly get to that one, so that will be the first one read when it's time
Would
to
you
read for you.
would you like to go ahead and share that with us? I'd love to hear it.
All righty. Let me see. I'm just scanning through here. There were a couple others that I had wanted to leave with, but I believe that I have found it. And it's called Testimony. It's a true story. Some of my pieces they can take anywhere from 5 minutes to 40 years, to create. This was the one that was written in about 5 minutes because I had actually lived the piece, and it's about me and my oldest son. Testimony. I was a teenage father then, with little money. My wife and I saved our lunch so that our son could eat. And we went without a meal that day. As night approached, we had hoped that he would sleep until morning. And with every twist and turn he made, my anxiety rose and fell. But as toddlers do, he rose hungry. Rubbing circles upon his belly, he was trying to be a big boy, trying to control the desperation that I saw in his eyes. I nodded to my wife, and we gathered change from everywhere, anywhere, between cushions and under couches, closets, desk, and cabinet drawers, and I was off to shop with newly found pocket change. It should have been enough for some instant noodles, Kool-Aid, bread, and peanut butter. Yet even as I counted out the change and the people in line smirked and commented, the cashier and I knew I didn't have enough. My eyes swelled, and I tried to control my desperation, but she just smiled and said, "Well, honey, that's just enough." I nodded as she bagged my food, and as I left, I turned to whisper a soft thank you. Walking back to our little apartment, I will never forget that feeling. Emotion overcame me, not embarrassment or shame, just thankfulness, just love. I'll do anything for my boy. In peace. Thank you.
That was beautiful. I love that.
Thank
And
you.
I have been there before, even recently. So I totally get it. Um, and and it's wonderful when people do those random acts of kindness like that. Or
Absolutely. It was
yeah,
truly appreciated. And as you can see, never forgotten.
yeah, indeed. Yeah, that is beautiful. So that's the United Nations award winning poem.
Yes, that piece, and I believe there was some other criteria for that. But yes, that was the main piece that won that. It was an
Beautiful.
amazing experience. It really was.
So did you go to the United Nations and actually recite that?
Unfortunately, that was the year that COVID was just rampant everywhere. And so they did it via Zoom. And I had never seen so many people in a Zoom before,
Wow.
thousands, and I didn't even know that that was possible. Um, and it was such a lovely experience because uh, people who could not speak English, because it was, it was all over the world, who were sending me crying emojis, smiling faces. I was getting private like chat messages from ambassadors across the world, and school teachers, kids. It was just such an amazing experience. It was very hard to keep my composure because I'm just a guy from the John Robertson Project Homes in Alexandria, Virginia. I never thought that I would be on the stage like that. It was amazing.
Well, well deserved too. It's beautiful. We have some comments. I was just going to go to those real quick. Not a whole lot, but we have a congratulations, thank you. We have greetings from Christian Romero Diaz. So anybody who's commenting on here, unless you have changed your settings, please sign the end of your comment so we know who you are. Otherwise, you just show up as a Facebook user and we don't know who you are. So Zan Johns testimony traveled directly to my heart. Outstanding. So do you know Zan?
I have heard of her name, but I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her personally. I look forward to doing so.
she is a stellar poet as well. So hi, Zan and Christian. Beautiful lines, Christian says. So thank you for the comments. And uh, is there anything when you write, that is based on a true story? Do you always write factual things? Do you ever delve into fiction and making up a story kind of line, or what do you usually do when you write your poems?
I'm glad you asked that question. My belief as artists, what we're doing is we're channeling. We're channeling something from a supreme source of light. Okay. And when people say my talent is not my particularly, but talent itself is God given, that's
Right.
what what they mean. So it may not be my truth at the moment, but it's someone's truth. I write stuff that deals with matters that happen during different time periods all across the world and to places that I've never been, and have won awards for that work, and have people come in. Yes, that's just what it's like, and it's just so amazing. As I just say, thank you, God, and I say, I've never been there. It's in my mind. It's in my spirit.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so
I get that. I do the same thing. And sometimes people are critical, of works that are maybe a little fictionalized. But usually, if I fictionalize something, there's a message in it. And
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely, absolutely. I write pieces. Well, like I said, people come to me after the show, and they tell me, "Hey, I wrote a piece about I call it grandma." Um, and people from every different race that you can name come to me after the show, and they say, "Hey, that's my grandma. You hit it right on the nail." And you
right.
know what I say? I look them right in the eye and I said, "Yes, I did. I did. Thank you for saying that."
Well, I
Because
love what you called it, though. You called it channeling.
that's what it
And
is.
yeah, because, obviously so I totally get it. Totally get it. And I think there is, I mean, we're kind of a conduit as far as, messages that need to be heard or relayed or whatever it may be. Um, you know, and I think that your testimony one is just, it shows the humbleness, being humble and how important that is. And always, realizing that really anybody in any walk of life could somehow have a huge hardship and have nothing and be I think it's when I went through these things the last couple of years, it's actually been a good experience for me in that I've learned what it's like for people who don't have much, or but so I think it's good for us to go back to our roots, to be humble.
I agree, and it encapsulates is my writing style. I try to be very simple,
Yes.
yet as elegant as I could possibly be. And by doing that, you connect to more people, because what I want to do is I want to connect with you. I want to move your spirit. And I want you to know that, you're not alone.
Right.
Um,
And the beauty of simplicity, I preach it all the time.
absolutely.
You take it takes more of a word artist, I think, to take simplistic words and to move and emote. You know what I mean? Than it does for someone to really have, impressive verbiage in there and stuff.
And also that piece was written in that manner because I was a teenage father. Just what the first couple of lines were.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to give inspiration to teenage moms and dads, to let them know that life is long. Life is long. And so don't give up. Don't get depressed. Don't be afraid. Just you're not alone. It is really what that message was about. There's always going to be some angel or some person that's going to come in your life and help you. And if you don't see those angels in your life, then guess what? You become an angel for somebody else. Either way, that kindness, that love is going to continue. And
Mhm.
so that really was my message for that.
So do you listen to that voice? If you're out and
Absolutely.
about and that voice tells you to do something, if I don't heed to it, I always feel so guilty. I might say, go ahead and pay for this person's thing or whatever it may be. I always say I don't hallucinate, but I do hear voices sometimes. Or,
I,
you hear that nudge, kind of like,
Absolutely. Even for me, uh, I came up at a time in an area where, era, I should say, where it was very dangerous. It was the we call it, I guess, the crack decade. There were a lot of drug things, a lot of gang activity, and things of that nature. I ran with some tough, with tough groups, and some of my friends, unfortunately, were murdered. Some of them were murderers, and I grew up in that, and it was still hard for me to understand that life is just it's like a blink of an eye, and it's so precious.
yeah,
um so that inner voice is what uh it kept me safe. So you said, do I listen to that voice? Oh yes. you know Most
yeah,
definitely. you know
yeah, that's good. Well, not everybody has a kind of intuitive nature. Um,
that's true.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah,
That's
but
true.
when we have it, we're blessed. So,
Very
yeah.
much.
What I want to do is give the stage back to you. Actually would like you to share a couple pieces with us, whatever you want to share, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit longer. So I'm going to give
Okay.
the stage back to you, and we're anxious to hear your next works.
Okay. Well, most of my work really deals with the African American, South. But I'm really all over the place, really. And The first piece, or the second piece, I guess I'd like to share, is called Ayancha. This is from a very brilliant young lady that I met in a chat group from my friend Patsy Syrian down in Charlottesville, Virginia. She had like an open mic, and so you had all these older people in this group, all fantastic poets. And then I saw this well, I won't call her a child, the preteen, and I was just so curious. And she was so brilliant, and she had shared with us some of the struggles that they were having in India, when it came to COVID. So I wrote this piece for her, and she liked it very much, and I'm pretty proud of it. Again, my style is very simple, and I like to connect. Uh, so the name of the piece is Ayancha. What past life glory, what marvelous feat was attained to earn such a child? She travels like a wish through honeycombs of parallel worlds to find us, to touch our hearts. She wears her tiara within in humbleness. It is the beauty of her inner world that we see. A lighted soul waiting in dark waters is she, a lighted temple on a shoreline of prayers. From brilliant cities lit on crystal lakes and rivers, she is the nightly observer, the twilight watcher. She understands and is accustomed to loss more than a child should know in any measure. She is the courageous one in a fearful time. The festivals and holy days have quieted. Sickness has increased the earthly vessels forsaken for eternity, creating grim lily pads in the river Ganges, alongside swaying candles in water that glow and flicker at dusk, alongside frankincense and jasmine scented flora afloat in leaf cups. Now is a time for filling the ranks of the ancestors. This is where angels are made to now know the secrets of men. What past life glory, what marvelous feat was attained to earn such a child? She travels like a wish through honeycombs of parallel worlds to find us, to touch our hearts. We are the refugees lost and adrift in a sea of dreams. We are the wayward pilgrims seeking to worship, the lonely poets observing time, strung together in spirit like pearls. strung together in spirit like tears, for it is the children who are unjustly charged to make the world a better place when they have not yet lived. In peace. Thank you
Wow,
so
that
much.
was beautiful. I love that. Yes, you are simplistic, but you're complex with your writing.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
in that there's a complexity in that you kind of metaphorically weave your way through your words, and you kind of incite one to really pay attention to the content and the wisdom within. So, yes, simplistic words, but complexity to it as well, I think.
I like to draw pictures. I want
Mm,
you to envision things. I want you to mainly feel things. Um, and I want you to feel empathy, really. Um,
yeah.
so thank you. Um, the As I said, most of my stuff deals with the American South. So I'd like to share a poem that I wrote for my father-in-law, um, and I call it "Men of the South." Ben's poem. We are as clear as muddy waters, with temperaments as vast as the marshlands and swamps that carve out the low country. This is where words of affection are rarely heard from men, stoic in nature and sustained on grits and gravy since birth. They will nod and roll up sleeves for the labor of today to place food for supper on well worn tables. Yes, this is how men of the South say, I love you. And you, a son of Carolina, born on these lands, where fire ants attack feet and ankles from sandy mounds, where snakes slide in the golden high grass terrain of Sumter Wood, where a wide eyed country boy in denim overalls traveled home from the drink houses through the mazes of midnight wetlands of universal darkness so deep and rich, where you could not see your hand before your face as you tiptoed past starlit silhouettes of agitated gators in wait and evaded the hooded pale riders of evils, devils on mounted steeds, their heavy breath evaporating into the cold, crisp air and moonlight, intending to do you harm because of your hue. So you headed north to begin anew. Decades later, you return and purchased lands once owned by those who enslaved your kin in this valley of Rembert, overlooked by the plantation ruins still set atop the hill. With sorrowful eyes, you turn to me and say, we don't speak about that. And now, a small village of children call you granddaddy. Memories of a family's laughs can be heard from the truck bed of your pickup bouncing on the backwood bumpy roads. And where you once led men to alcohol, you now lead them away from it, changing lives. Yes, this with what's with given, you have made a good life, and you had a good wife. Yes, this is all a man of the South can ask for. And to think it was in the difference of faiths and wills that our bond was forged. As we sit in the here and now of this hurting place, your body weakened by cancer and hospice, with me now losing a part of myself at your door of transition. Folks say that when you're in a storm, the Lord says it's best to stay still. So I remain quiet by your sick bed, the two of us locked in a gentle strength. There are times when words cannot convey depths of understanding and devotion. So we sat in the here and now of that hurting place together in silence, because we are as clear as muddy waters, with temperaments as vast as the marshlands and swamps that carve out the low country. This is where words of affection are rarely heard from men, stoic in nature and sustained on grits and gravy since birth. They will nod and roll up sleeves for the labor of the day, to place food for supper on well worn tables. Yes, This is how men of the South say, I love you, in peace.
Wow. I don't even know. Your writing is just I'm blown away. It's just wonderful. And yeah, you'll make your little niche in the literary world that you're already forging as well. And it's just the beauty and your ability to weave it in such a wonderful way. You just I don't even know what to say. It's just it's marvelous. And
Great.
someone just said they had chills, and that doesn't happen often. And yeah, when you get chills, which I did too, and get the wow factor, and your ability to do that. Look at the power you have in your pen, Brian.
Um, I, I give all praise to the Creator. Not that I deflect compliments, and I truly appreciate you saying that, but it's just I know where the source comes from. As I say, we channel, um, and when you have that understanding, life becomes so much easier, you know. But thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that.
No, no, no. I get it. I mean, it's a gift, you know.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Does anyone else in your family write?
Um, no, a lot of them read. My father, oh, how could I forget about that? My father is the reason that I am a poet, because he too was a writer. Unfortunately, he died when he was around 22 years old. So he was a teenage dad, and I believe I was about 6 years old, and so I didn't know what to do with that pain, you know. And so poetry saved my life in a way that it gave me a release. And I quickly understood at that young age that we are energy changers as artists. It doesn't have to be writing, it could be artists of any discipline. We are energy changers. We take something and we make it beautiful. And I took all that anxiety, all that pain, all that hurt. And through my writing, I try to create beautiful things, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and
You
so
do. Do you feel like your style of writing has changed over the years? Or have you switched it up a little bit? Does it kind of remain constant?
Well, I used to be a rapper. So
Oh,
yeah. So
you want to
and
do
even
that?
back then
You
it was
want to
positive. It was positive rap, you know. I
feel free to do some. We'd love to hear you
Oh
perform.
no, 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 no. That's so that the thing about that is that most of that what we call freestyle rap is how should I say this? It's you have to think about things quickly and things of that nature. And sometimes you might say things to do something for the sake of it rhyming. And
Right.
I'm beyond that point. I'm beyond that point. Every time that I speak, I want it to make have a meaning. But I will be returning back to the studio shortly because I've mixed jazz in with my style. So I think that I can do something
Good.
in
Good.
the future, not right now.
So is it going to be you're going to have some jazz playing while you're doing your recitation kind of thing in the background?
Absolutely. Now I'm working on novels, and screenplays and all types of things.
Good.
Um, and so I just there's a recent artist, Albert Miller. I believe he's a fantastic icon in the poetry world in the DMV area, and he was just up for a Grammy for his poem speaking about Black men. And so, when you see a light and you say, "Hey, maybe I can try to do something too," and I do have a past um, in the music industry, so I think I might take one more shot at it. Why not?
Good. Good for you. Well, kudos to you and all your endeavors. Those, it takes time to do all that. And
Mm.
do you write every day?
Do I write every day? No, but I absorb every day. And when I can't write, I'll write little notes to myself, and I will feel something because once I feel something, it's there. And I could go back and reference it. Actually, I rather work in those terms where I feel it instead of writing it down. that way it's in my spirit and I don't forget it.
Right.
Um, but no, I would love to be at the point where I can write and matter of fact, read every day. I have so many books I haven't got a chance to get to
Yeah,
because I'm just a busy man. I got a lot going on.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
Zan Johns said that she grew up, let's see, in Louisiana. You beautifully described my father, uncles, and grandfathers. Very good. Very good. And I think there's a universality about your writing. You know what I mean? It
thank
just
you.
it doesn't, which is very important. It's important to voice about things that we strongly believe in, but when you can, expound your field of readers and people able to emphasize or produce empathy or and incite emotions, I think it's even more of a powerful tool. You can reach so many more souls. So that universality that you have in your writing is so important. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I said, it never fails. When you write a piece and somebody's got to feel the way that you felt. I used to read Lord Byron. The man died centuries ago. I'm a little child in the hood reading Lord Byron, but
yeah,
feeling what he felt in England or Europe or wherever he was at the time. Some of his beautiful poetry. um, I love Nikki Giovanni, and so many other wonderful, wonderful writers. And I haven't had those experiences, but that poem gives me that experience and I can connect with it.
right, right.
Um, so yeah, that's the most beautiful thing about this art, that we have, you know, that we call poetry.
And I think that that's when we get people that really appreciate poetry is when they're able to have that connectivity. And they're, and we have to have something to allure them and draw them into that art form. And so when we can do that through our words that we weave and like you do, you really, I'm sure, will touch many, many lives. Do you have books out?
Well, I have offers for books. I have a couple of, well, I'm not, oh, that sounded arrogant. I have some people that are interested in my work. I am going over those offers. I've had offers in the past, but just because somebody gives you an offer, you don't jump on everything. You know, I have been published in about 45 to 50 different anthologies and magazines of merit, journals and things over the last 5 or 6 years that I've gone back, into writing. So my work is out there, but in a book form, it hasn't. Oh, how could I forget? I will be releasing a chapbook to help Feeding America with my friends at Local Gems Poetry Press. Yeah, so it's the U.S. Beat Poet Laureate, and his dear friend and my dear friend Nick. They published about maybe 400 to 500 books, most of them to help other artists and to help organizations like Feeding America. So I'm going to lend my talents to be a part of that. I like doing things that are that help the world, that change the world. And working with these gentlemen, I think that I can get that accomplished. But I do have at least 2 to 3 publishers that want to publish my work. I'm just um, going through the offers and see what's best for me.
Yeah. Get the one with lots of royalties. So that would be wonderful. I think that's
Yes.
what was it you or someone else? I think it was you. Wasn't it you who said something one some either an interview or maybe a Zoom meeting and you said something about getting paid or.
Oh, yeah, that was my dear friend Aaron the poet. He has a great show, um, and so poetically correct. So he and I, and Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram, the previous guest of yours and dear friend of both of ours, we were on this show, and they asked me what's the most difficult part about being an artist, and I said getting paid. because it is.
Mhm.
And so he took
Yeah.
that snippet and he put it all over the internet. I
Mhm.
won't say it went viral, but it got
Yeah.
a lot of clicks.
That's why they call us the starving artists, right? I mean,
Yes,
really,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes,
And I don't think that people who don't share our passion, of course, not quite understand the drive behind it and what makes us keep wanting to do it, even though there isn't money in it. Sometimes it costs us money, and yet we kind of forge on and still want to do those things. And so I think it's people that have that passion can really understand it well.
the
And
passion
it's
for poetry, just that's the name of your show. The
yeah,
business of poetry as well.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
So
Exactly. I want you to share a couple more pieces, but actually, before we do that, I'll ask you the question I ask everyone who's on here. Do you know what that question is?
I'm sorry, no, I don't.
That's okay. And most people are like, oh, I know what this is. And it's like, so tomorrow you come across Aladdin's lamp and you are granted three wishes, whatever you can wish for in the world, whatever you want. What three wishes would you wish for?
Wow, that's a very deep question. I'm gonna I'm not gonna approach that in a broad sense. I'm gonna try to approach that in a personal sense because of course, world peace, you know,
Right, right,
it's I don't want a hungry belly in the world. No child should be hungry, which goes
right,
into much of the work that I do with Dr. Hiram LaRue. Um, but in a personal sense, I think that I'd like to get deeper into myself. I'd like to get more. I'd like to listen more. I want to learn how to hear better, so that I can craft more art that appeals and connects to more people. Um, Me personally, I want to do the very best job I can in the limited time that I have in this world to heal anxiety and depression, which, as you know, is really the basis of being, at least for a writer. I'm sure in other artistic forms that may prevail as well, but
right.
definitely in writing. Uh, Most of us have some sort of depression or anxiety that we're trying to change the energy of. Um, and then lastly, but not least, as always, I am obsessed with being a fantastic father, to my children. So my wish would be to be a better father, to be a better grandfather, to be a better son, a better husband. Um, I think that I personalize those. I can answer that question that way.
That was good, and I thank you for making it. Well, you kind of did both. Kind of explained why you weren't going to go down one road, and then kind of went down your own path of wishes, which was actually very wonderful and a great response.
Thank you.
Sometimes,
Thank you.
and hardly anybody says I want to win $1 million and never have to worry about money again or anything. So hardly anybody does that, and I think probably it's because we know in the end money doesn't buy happiness. You can right, you can be rich and miserable. So
I've known millionaires. I've known people. I worked for 30 years in the luxury hotel business for around the three hotels that surround the White House. I've met kings, queens, actors, actresses. Michael Jordan lived at the hotel with us for a year while he coached the Washington Wizards. I've seen a lot of so-called celebrities. I've gotten to know them personally, and money doesn't bring happiness. You know, um, of course, we all want to be financially well off,
right.
but the older I get, the more I understand, and I'm fiercely protective of my personal peace. That and our time. Time is the most valuable resource that we can't get back. That's our most valuable commodity. Um, so yeah, that's why I didn't jump for the money. But sure, I'd like to be paid.
Sometimes I'll give somebody say, my last wish is I wish for three more wishes. Yeah,
Smart.
I know, right? I
Smart.
know. And then every third wish, you just keep saying that, and you have a continuum there. You just, forever be able to do it. So I want you to read a couple more for us,
Sure.
and you can pick out whatever you want. And I'm sure, did you go ahead time and just kind of decide which ones you wanted to read, or are you spontaneous?
Well, right now I'm just spontaneous with it. I think I'm gonna have fun. The next two, they're more humorous. Poems. They both speak to the African American experience, in our beautiful country. So the first one is called Billiards Player. This speaks to feeling I had in my spirit from the 1930s. As I said, there are a lot of different um, uh, genres that come with my work. And then the second one is called Sweet Tones, Somber Tones, which is also, I guess you would call it, one of my signature pieces. That speaks to a trumpet player in a jazz club, also around that time, roughly. I'll go into the Billiards Player. The aged neon sign flashes pool hall outside of the meager dwelling place that has evolved to become a haven for us, the ebony saints and sinners on Saturday nights. The super slick savages who call themselves hustlers scout prey, seek out those who feel invincible, and they steal farmers, railroad, and factory workers' pay. See those sharks catch them on the pool tables, and they smoothly chant, "Rack 'em." Them thugs use the dice games in the back alley or that knuckle game to straight jack 'em. Mm, that gal Tessera show is fine. With her almond butter skin, I'd love to spend some time. I'd pitch woo right now if she wasn't the Reverend's daughter. They say that gal's so sweet, you could drink her tub water. But she here to see Roscoe over there drinking brandy, but his soul is enslaved by the white nose candy. She funds his degradation, craving to test her womanhood. Skinny, frail, he waits in the corner. Wasting love on him ain't ever gonna be good. Who, me? I'm that brother in the back room, cap tipped to the side, slightly hanging over my dark brown eyes. I grew up here in this chanty town, and I see it dying. And there's a restlessness in me cause I see I'm dying. So tonight I'm jumping on the train, the midnight run. I ain't saying goodbye to none of one. Let them drink and smoke and live life recklessly through the mist of the pool hall. The sounds of the balls crackling endlessly pound my senses and sets my heart aflame. 8 ball in the corner pocket. Damn, that's game. In peace. And then I like to share sweet tones, somber tones. Now I hear those sweet tones, those somber tones in the night sky. And me all alone with this here old horn as my only ally. But I'm feeling good, feeling jazzy, playing up a storm. People hearing my sound, now they're coming in to get warm. Heads swaying slowly, sorta side to side. Fingers snapping, and I'm filled with pride because I'm entertaining my people in the chocolate city. I got my eye on that dark skinned girl looking pretty. Fever running, running wild. And this old woman say, "Go ahead, play it, child. It ain't no worry. Just dancing and fun. See, it wasn't nothing like this when the night begun. Yeah, these my peoples, jam packing a place. You see, I'm proud of my culture and I'm proud of my race, and I'm giving them back something for what they gave me. And I'm loving every minute, playing this old horn real jazzy. Short hair, cornrow, scars, and braids go out into the cold night as all the fun fades. Sweet tones, somber tones in the night sky. Me all alone with this here old horn as my only ally. In peace. Um,
Beautiful,
thank
beautiful
you.
work.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful to hear you, recite these pieces because you're really quite dynamic at doing it. And I know you called yourself a what poet? I know what.
I am a podium poet.
Yes.
I like to stand before a university with a poem. I'm sorry, in front of a podium, reading my poetry, and that is how I prefer. But as I said, if the music comes on and you give me a mic, then I'll rap too. So,
And I have a new title. You're the podium poet. I'm the bathroom poet.
you're the bathroom.
Um,
Okay.
did I share that story with you?
No, but do tell.
About a month ago, I was coming home from work, and as I so often do, because I have to a couple hours drive, I stop by a rest area to, you know, do my thing and get more alert on the road. But I ended up going to the restroom, and the little voice was talking to me. I had interviewed somebody, and she said, "Oh, we go out and we just, if you don't have like an open mic, you can just go out in public like musicians do and just start, you know, reciting. People will listen." So the little voice is saying, "Okay, you should share a poem in here." I'm thinking, "This bathroom, it's not a good time." And the little voice is saying, "No, really, you should do this." And so I thought, "Okay, what the heck? I'll never see these people again anyway, right?" So, so, so I went and announced. I said, I'm a poet, and I'd really like to share with you all a poem. And this one lady, I could see her like washing her hands and drying them real quick, to get out of there. And I'm thinking, oh, but there's this one lady, and she just was mesmerized and totally attentive the whole time, and just, her mouth was kind of dropping. She was like, and she said, and she must have been a minister, because she said, you know, I'm getting ready to write my sermon, and you're going to be in it. I'm going to talk about the bathroom poet. So,
That's
yes.
funny.
You're the podium. I think podium poet might be a little bit more respectful than the bathroom poet. But
Well, yeah, I kind of want kids to be able to be in libraries and universities and reach and grab my work. Um, recently, some of my work is, as well as some other fabulous writers here in Virginia, thanks to the outgoing poet laureate, we're able to get our work into Old Dominion University's database of fine literature. And I thought that was such a fabulous, opportunity. So now people can, access our work from there on a university level, and that is really what I wanted to do. You know,
and you did that.
yeah,
How
my work
long
there.
have you been really out there with your poetry?
Well, I started off. I published my first little chapbook. Through uh, uh, a small publishing company. The name of it was Observations in Black, Shelton Publishing Company, who were two dear friends of mine. And they published my work. But life, being a father and things of that nature, not that you can't have a balance between life and art, but I was so obsessed with trying to be the best father I could be. And I was so young that I set the art aside for a moment, for a while, and that turned out to be a couple decades. So I've really been back on the scene for about maybe 5 to 7 years. But in that time, it's really been amazing. Been blessed to win so many awards and meet so many wonderful people around the world.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's really been wonderful.
It is, and I think that the internet really gives us a great forum to really see the vast amount of talents and really connect with people, and it's a good way for us to grow within our art form. You know.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm going to have you read a couple more pieces. I'm sure they are anxious to. Oh, Zan about my bathroom poet said, "You are so brave, Annette. Wow." I just thought to myself, I'll never see them again. So what do I have to lose? So,
Indeed,
all right,
indeed.
the stage back to you.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and read two more. Um, the name of this piece is "Recollections of Her, the South," and it goes into me discussing my love um, and hate relationship with the South as it would be with a woman. So, recollections of her, the South. She was to me like a single drop of cool water brushed along the dry, cracked lips of a tired laborer. She inspired me with her loveliness in dawns and twilights of violet and mandarin, where birds tweet and crows caw. She held summer captive in the blush of her lips, her kiss. She is a fickle maiden, my love, so I could never settle in a season or time. Yes, I recall, this is how I love her. She was to me a single seed planted in famine. Deep within the rich black soil of the Delta, she preached a ministry of kindness and cruelty and brought to me both substance of honey and sourness of vinegar. She became to me like a heavy rain, densely veiled in her mist. There was no vision in her storm. She ignited within me the anger of raging rivers, leaving broken trees ripped and uprooted wayside, torn asunder by her chaos. And this love, born in the death of a rebel's cry, and upon black backs cracked in fields, men, women, and children, branded and bonded with iron, marched in an endless progression of despair, their windpipes covered in thorns to prevent speech, their chests full of burning coals and ashes to hollow hearts, sentenced to death before given life, until their longing eternal souls were no longer in her grasp. And in response, my dearest love leaves behind only faith and tears, making her promises hard to trust. Yet still she lives in my core, yet still I yield to her beauty. Yes, this is how deeply I care. She became to me a foregone forever, lost in the handshakes and nods from strangers in small towns. She became to me lifetimes lost within the loyalty and betrayal of the stars and bars of Dixie. So come, sit a spell. She will lull you to sleep and seduce you. She will become one with you. Yes, I recall, this is how I love her, the South, in peace. And then I figured we'd end with a little love piece. It's called Blind. It's for my wife. I wrote it many years ago. Blind. Yet even when I close my eyes and fall into the abstract art ablaze in color against your inner blackness, your image beckons through, an outline etched in a vivid shade. In stellar points of light, I see you like moonbeams on the dark seas of my mind. And on this shoreline of eternity, I stand on notice, on the abyss of an endless void. As you ebb and flow with my pulse, you are the pattern of my heartbeat. And when I close my eyes, I find myself almost wishing to be blind, if only to touch you in new dimensions and make love to you in new depths. Go deeper than thy flesh. I want to know thy essence, the destination where marrow and bone are replaced by stardust and cosmos, where your soul is free. I want to know you there, my love. And yes, I would choose to remain blind, to be forever cast in ebony, save for your likeness, save for your image. For this would be the better blessing, indeed, my heaven. In peace.
I'm so glad you read that. I was so afraid you weren't going to read that, and I just love it. It's such a
Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Thank you.
yes,
Thank you.
I love that piece. It is, and I'm sure that your wife just adores it as well. And I think that it really shows. It's a very gentle, heartfelt, sweet, romantic piece, and really, I think shows that wonderful quality that men have in their ability to love their beloved and to express it well, which you did. So, kudos to you for writing that. It's a beautiful piece. Hopefully, it's published already.
Um, Again, several. Well, I'm sounding arrogant. Several times.
Yeah.
It's been published a few times, but whenever I read
Mhm.
that piece, people come up to my wife after the show and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's a nice piece." And my wife, we've been friends since preschool, so she says, "He alright, he alright."
Yeah, well, she wants to bring you back down, right? You bring it down a couple notches. Yeah, honey, that's really great, but
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
So it's
but yeah, it's just a wonderful piece. Yeah, and somebody said on here, you write a book, I'll buy it. Well, I will too. I'll be buying it as well.
thank you,
And
thank you. It's
then
coming, it's coming
you'll
out.
publish it again. So, yeah.
Oh, that particular piece, yes.
Yes, 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 indeed. Yeah, it's just a beautiful piece. I'm just so thrilled and honored and that you took the time to come and let us get to know you and your works more. I think that you just bring this unique spin into our, literary world, as far as our poetry world, that needs to be heard and that needs to be actually well known. And so, and you will be well known. If you aren't, you already are. You're kind of on your way, but you will be up amongst the names of the greats also. So then you can remember little on me when you get up there and say,
Absolutely, and that's one thing about I'll say briefly before we cut about meeting people like Kwame Alexander, Jason Reynolds, people who are at the top of their game. Kwame just won an Emmy for the crossover, which is a show on Disney. So humble, so completely humble. Anybody that knows this man knows what I'm talking about. And since day one, he's been that way. Jason Reynolds the same way. He was so cool. The first time I met him, I was I didn't know how to approach him. But when I was with the American Next Great Author competition in New York, yeah, I finally got to meet him. A wonderful guy. He's a writer who wrote the Spider-Man, the African American Miles Morales version, among other books that have been celebrated books. So humble, so a beautiful soul of a person,
"Mm,
and that's
mm,
what I aspire to be in the same manner when my turn comes, and I'm very certain that is coming very very shortly.
yeah." I think both of us, that's important that we always maintain that, bit of integrity and humbleness that I think is so important, really, with everyone. And look who we heard from. Amazing body of work, my friend, from Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram. Thanks for joining us, sir. I don't know if you heard earlier. Did I talk about you? Yeah, because you need to reschedule with me so you can share your beautiful works as well. So, not that I'm putting you under pressure, like saying it to everyone right now, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
everybody's standard is to be on Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram's show, and so it was a great
I've
honor
not
for
been,
me.
I've not been a guest there.
It's he gonna make room for you. I'll put in a word for you.
No, 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 no. I'm sure he will someday.
He gonna
It's
do it. He
all
probably
good.
text me after the show. So
It is all good. It's all good. We've talked about it before, but both of us have schedules, and yeah, yeah, that's my goal too, is to be on his show because then I've made it somewhere if I get selected by him to be on his show. So
yeah,
yeah, he's a great podcaster. I love listening to his podcast. So
I had the pleasure of meeting. Oh
quintessential listening, quintessential his broadcast podcast.
oh yes. I've been on the show with him a couple of times, and I've gotten to know him personally. Although I must say I've never met him. I've never met him in person. It's him, me, and Aaron R. the poet. I've met Aaron R., but I haven't met Dr. Ingram. So we have to fix that, Michael. But he's such a beautiful person behind the scenes, as well as thoughtful, sensitive, intelligent, and professional. In his podcast. So
And in
yeah,
his own right, a marvelous writer.
yeah. Personally, in his own right, and wonderful. I mean, but the person behind the scenes, I've gotten to know him. on telephone calls and talking and things. It's been many years now, um, but he's really genuine, and I really look up to him.
He really is genuine. He's marvelous, and
Mhm,
he's going to be
mhm.
going video soon, so that'll be fun.
Indeed, he's just a wonderful person. Before we send out, I also send a shout out to Spill Think Virginia with my friend John Dutton. I'm on the board of that writing group that John started. Him and Alice Mergler, just fantastic. My friends are right by the rails with Catherine Gahard. Um, just I'm always surrounding myself with wonderful people. As I mentioned before, Dr. Hallam LaRue, Lady Di, Sister Joy Alford, Diana Wilburn Parks. So many wonderful people in this area in the DMV, which is District, Maryland, and Virginia area. So I just want to send a shout out to them.
Very good. All wonderful poets. Yeah, Lady Di celebrated birthday not too long ago, so happy birthday, Lady Di. Actually, someone else has a birthday in a couple days, if I remember right. So, happy early birthday to Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram. I think you said your birthday is March 27th. So,
Oh wow! Okay.
I think I remember that because I keep fearing I'm going to forget it. So I keep thinking, okay, it's December 27th. So, yeah. So also, when's your birthday?
I'm a September baby, mid September.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Virgo.
Well, thank you again so much. It's been such a pleasure, and just such a pleasure to listen to not only your words, but you're reciting them as only you can, and just love and blessings to you and to all our viewers. And Zan says, great interview. Thank you, Zan. So love and blessings to everyone. Thank you again so much, Brian. I really
You're very
appreciate
welcome. The
it.
pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much.
Goodbye to everyone. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share. So this will go on to Facebook and YouTube. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Take care, y'all. Bye bye.
Good evening.